Tesla called you to collaborate. Would you say yes? And if so, what would the 30-second pitch be?
No. I think we're trying to build a great product company here. It doesn't make sense to collaborate. Activa got sold on a different promise. Splendor built its fortunes on a different promise, in a different India, in a different environment. A new brand should not be trying to say, मेरे पास electric है, I'll be the new Splendor. No. People love the idea of the scooter that we are showing these batteries on. They don't want to buy batteries from us. They want to buy a good product from us. Battery is not a product they care about. So maybe the problem is the scooter and not the battery. So I would just come back to the campus, crash that one. And I'd use the time to basically, in my isolation, read. I just wanted to read everything about electric vehicles. First check went in that's March 2014. 15, 16, 17, 18. 4.5 years. 18 August. August 2018 is when we delivered our first 10 scooters.
Wow.
We've had an acute lack of metrics in our industry, which is why it depends too much on storytelling. It depends too much on, this is the next Elon Musk or this is the next Steve Jobs. Because of the electric powertrain, you can now unlock his experiences, which are very difficult to do with ICE. And I have now become a believer that that's the real opportunity. Become patron saints of those new experiences for the new customer instead of trying to be the new old thing.
Biggest risk that you've probably taken in this entire journey? Welcome to Season 4 of the Blume Podcast with the theme Destiny, Avenged. Each conversation spotlights founders who fought past rejections and near failures to claim a chapter in India's startup story. This season is in partnership with IDFC First Bank and Ultrahuman, a Blume portfolio company. Today's guest electrified an industry many dismissed as impossible for a young Indian startup. Tarun Mehta, co-founder and CEO of Ather Energy, went from sketching battery packs in an IIT Madras hostel room to rolling out India's first premium smart electric scooters and a nationwide charging network. Back in 2013, the idea of locally engineered EV two-wheelers seemed absurd. No supply chain, no infrastructure, and skeptics urging him to copy China. Tarun ignored the easy path. He poured years and every rupee raised into bespoke batteries, over-the-air software, and vertical integration when hardware in India, quote-unquote, was still a punchline. A decade later, Ather boasts 2 plants in Hosur, the Ather grid across 300-plus cities, and vehicles that set performance benchmarks. But the ride wasn't smooth. Funding winters, near burnouts, and fierce rivals tested Tarun and Swapnil's resolve. Tarun, welcome to the Blume Podcast.
Hi, Karthik.
Hi, thanks for taking time today. Usually, Tarun, I like to begin with, trying to understand how the founder journey even began. And, whether there's a founder pitching to me or whether it's someone who's as accomplished or built over a decade like you folks have, I think it's important for, young entrepreneurs and audiences to understand what is the root of all of this. So I'm going to take you right back to Ahmedabad. And from what I understand, you grew up there.
Yeah.
What was that environment like? What prompted you to think about, or were you thinking about entrepreneurship? What was early life like? What was the family upbringing like? Love to hear your inspirations from back then.
So, grew up in Ahmedabad, Marwadi family. I wasn't thinking of starting up or entrepreneurship.
Yes.
There is I graduated from college from school in 2007. Yeah, that's when I went to college. So, tab tak to entrepreneurship was not really a word. In fact, it took me many years to really realize what entrepreneurs probably are all about. So the only optimization then for the longest time was how do I maximize my game time? And God willing, Gujarat board curriculum was very easy back in the day. And I was lucky. So I could max that quite successfully. And a surprisingly high number of my life's decisions in that phase were all centered around kam se kam time spent karna hai in stuff that I'm like times when I'm not playing has to be really minimized. So I refused to go for tuitions till at least 10th standard.
Yeah. Some
11th
JE prep you might have done.
11th was my JE prep,
Yeah.
but this amazing class was 2 hours every alternate days.
Okay.
And that gave me the free pass to not go for any other tuitions.
Yeah.
So effectively, I had like some 8 hours of net tuitions the entire week. Can't really complain.
Yeah.
And that too, I opted for the class which was the least amount of cycle distance from my home. Like it was some 6 minutes, cause cycling distance, like easy peasy.
Yeah.
So
So when you say games, like
computer.
yeah, like what kind?
Thoroughly
What were your favorite
athletic.
games? Yeah.
Oh, back then it was just too much time on Age of Empires.
Okay.
At that point, yeah, just too much time. I think there was a bit of NFS. But just too much with Age of Empires. A lot of these Sim Cities, The Sims, and a lot of these tycoon things.
What thrill did it give you as a young teenager?
I'm not sure.
Yeah.
It was just very hooky. Especially the strategy games like Age of Empires were like really like they would just like swallow you in, right? So उस time first person shooter games का ज़्यादा theme नहीं था.
Yeah.
So at least I didn't play a lot of those. So it was mostly these real-time strategy or some kind of strategy game. And hours would go into them. Either that or comics.
And is it true that you know, lot of science suggests that gaming is not necessarily a bad thing for a young teenage mind?
I definitely think so.
Yeah.
I think till a certain quantity of time spent, I think it's quite healthy. I think it can make you very creative. And I think it gets you to imagine a lot. That and like reading, I think are two really good exits from the real world, which I think can be in some doses quite healthy once in a while.
Your dad was an entrepreneur, or is rather, perhaps. But it's not the kind you liked or thought that would you.
No,
you would
I don't
take
think
over.
I don't think today he would call. Well, yeah, that would be technically entrepreneurship. He was in the computers business back then. Different things. Starting all the way from assembling PCs in that era, which is why I got into video games. Because he would assemble these PCs. And my promise was, why don't I try this latest Age of Mythology on your system to test and tell you how smooth everything is running.
Okay.
Yeah. So 6 hours, fatafat, and then move on.
Yeah.
So he would assemble PCs. He sold antivirus. He sold tax software.
Yeah.
So a lot of different things over the years.
Yeah.
But that's what he thinks. But this was small business. It was like a single person entrepreneurship.
Sure.
Right? Like not like a...
Your classic lifestyle-ish and
yeah.
Like as both you combine Gujarat and you combine a Marwadi, I think both it's inherently native for you to be in some form of business.
I don't think that's what led to this.
Okay.
I think this is more an outcome of us wanting to build something.
So cutting over to IIT days now, like
Yeah.
you chose Madras or just luck of the lottery?
No, I did choose Madras. I chose Madras primarily because there was this new Department of Engineering Design. It was a young department that had some sort of a weird appeal to me. That's new. And the pitch was really nice. I think the way they made it sound in the brochure was it's a mix of automotive, design, management, product, biotech, robotics.
New program at that point.
It is a new department. And the brochure made it sound like it's a mix of all of this. And I was really nervous about doing anything with regards to electronics. I really did not feel I'm up to it. And I really disliked coding. So it had to be mechanical something. And this promised automotive, promised robotics, promised product, vagara. So it sounded like a really nice fit. So I opted for it. So it was not fully, whatever draw of luck you get. Thoda sa selection tha isme.
So how did the meeting with Swapnil happen? And like, were you part of a team there? Were you tinkering with the same stuff?
We
How did you become a tinkerer? Yeah.
We stuck together from day one.
Okay.
We were in the same hostel.
Yeah.
We were in the same department. Our rooms were right above each other. Like I was here, he was like, rooms hi aaju baaju the. So we just stuck together for 5 years. And I think within the first year, we kind of realized both of us like building things. So I think we spent the next 4 years building things together.
And what were the best highlights or the best projects that you guys worked on in college?
We have done a lot. So the funniest, but also the most, the most quantity, सबसे ज़्यादा काम वाला project was us building this construction equipment. it was called human powered motor.
What does that
U-motor. It was a really large setup. Like think like a 6-8 feet kind of a large setup we had to build with clutches and gears and like dual feeds onto the same crankshaft. Really complex. And we had to learn a lot of stuff to build it, like from modeling, CAE, to really complex prototyping, building gears, getting them knit together. We actually filed a whole bunch of patents also on it. So that was a fun one. I think that was the first large project we did together. But the one that had possibly the most impact on us starting up was this engine that we worked together on called the Stirling engine. Swapnil began working on this sometime in his second year. By the end of his second year, he had put together a prototype of this. And a Stirling engine is like a quick 30-second background. It's basically an external combustion engine. It's not an internal combustion engine.
Okay.
So there is no fuel that's combusting inside. But instead, any heat that you give from the outside gets a crankshaft to move. So you could run it on practically any heat source. You could focus some heat on it, it'll work. You could put it on a gas stove, it'll work. Heck, you take a small enough engine, you put it on your hand, the heat of your hand will make the engine move. It's very fascinating and supremely high efficiencies. So he pitched this as a fun engineering project, built a prototype, and the same timeline, I was in Stanford on an experience thing, meeting entrepreneurs there in Silicon Valley. I had come back thoroughly impressed and radically rewired, because till that point I thought entrepreneurship was all about getting a good job. Let's meet. Like I was in the entrepreneurship club, and I had no idea. I don't think most of us understood what entrepreneurship was all about. Most of us thought
it's changed a lot nowadays, I think. But
I think we had really the absolute wrong idea. We thought entrepreneurship was about getting a job in an IT company of all the things. And then cut to Stanford, and you're seeing all these people building things of value while they're still in the first, second year of college. So we were both one day sitting together. He had shown his thing in some UK Ka Fest, and I had just come back from Stanford, and we were sitting together in the room. I was looking at this engine that he had made. I was like, what do you think you can do with it? He said, like, it can run anything, right? Any heat source. So it can be like a legitimate product. I'm like, product? Yeah, I just heard something about it. What if we start a business on that? What if we start a startup on it? Right? And that pulled us down this rabbit hole. We spent 3 years trying to build those engines. Actually, that took the most amount of time. We built 4 or 5 engines.
Okay.
We actually built engines, by the way. I think it's hard for people to imagine.
And where do you think they would be applicable? Or?
Like we built crankshafts.
Understood.
Okay. We would seal entire engines, and we would like hand assemble, hand build all of this. It was really hard.
How big a team did you recruit?
I think at peak we were like 4 people.
That's it.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah.
Amazing.
People come, go, but more or less 3-4 people. What do we think we'll do? We pitched this. So that was the origin of the word Ather Energy. We pitched the two of us as Ather Energy, an energy company. Ather is a Greek word for purest form of air. So Ather Energy is the purest form of energy. And our pitch was that we want to build a 1 kilowatt engine for $1,000, which, since it's a Stirling engine and can run on any heat source, we want to sell to farmers who, instead of burning their farm waste for no joy, can basically cut it into small pieces, store it, and basically keep burning it off through the course of the year under this engine, perpetually generating 1 kilowatt for their houses. That was a pitch.
So it is a biofuel
effectively,
engine,
right? But it really won't save pollution. The pollution's going to happen. But at least you'll get electricity out of that pollution.
Distributed over the year as opposed to 2 days.
Yes, that too. Yeah. So that was a pitch. That's a 1 kilowatt engine we are trying to build. We build the engines, but really nothing like production grade. So
before I jump to how Ather transformed, and seems like the first idea was more of a battery company, and then you moved to a full stack. But prior to that, I was on jury, CNBC jury. I don't know if you're aware. Last year they gave a special prize to IIT Madras.
Yeah.
For just being an innovation hub, and the fact that they've done it over 15-20 years. And I remember back in the day when I came back from the US, even in those early days, Ashok Junjunwala, Research Park, they were all like IIT Bombay as well. I'm not saying Bombay didn't have that culture. But did you sense that was something special? And is that like a prototype that all the IITs, now they have 20 plus, I hear. So should everybody be doing this at scale? Why aren't we seeing enough innovation? Why is there only very few Tarun and Swapnils compared to how much raw horsepower we put into the IITs every year?
No, I think there are a lot more now. I was just at an IIT Madras event a couple of months back, and they were telling me that last year they incubated 115 startups.
Amazing.
And I was going through a list. There was barely anything that was not real deep tech, hardware, or AI. Like nothing else.
It's in a good. By the way, I sit on Roorkee's. I went to Roorkee, and they have an incubator as well called Tides. So I'm on the board of advisors there.
It's called Tides.
Yeah, for some reason, TIDES is the acronym.
Our entrepreneurship club was called Self Tides.
Oh, is it?
Yeah.
So maybe they took inspiration from that. And I keep telling them, focus only on hard science, hard engineering.
Yeah.
Don't encourage guys who are trying to build some consumer app sitting out of college. I mean, theoretically, you can build a Facebook out of college, but our cultural system and our tech universities are not necessarily built for that, right? And so we should see more of that R&D with the professors' help to sort of translate into more startups like of this nature.
I think Madras had a very special thing going then, and I think it should be studied more. I think it's worth investing a lot to recreate it, but it's not natural. It won't recreate automatically just by starting a incubation cell.
Yeah.
I would say there are a few things that really went in favor of IIT Madras at that point. First, this is 2007 when we went to college, first year. That was the year when a bunch of alumni got together to inaugurate this thing called CFI, Center for Innovation. I think it was a massive lab, 40, 50, 60,000 square feet. They took one of the massive workshops, which was empty, and they donated to students, and they stuffed it with a whole bunch of equipments, right? So you got CNC machines, you got every form of thing that you would need for prototyping, a whole bunch of even raw material, everything just there. And I realized it much later that what it kick-started in our batch onwards was something that hadn't happened before. Because it started becoming common for people to just hang out in CFI over the weekends and often late in the evenings, building their thing.
Yeah.
Without it being a resume point or without
prompt,
koi academic prompt nahi hai, koi extracurricular prompt nahi hai. There was a giant number of people working on drones, gliders, FSA teams started because of CFI, people building race cars. In fact, Swapnil was one of the founding team members of Raftar, the race car team at campus, because of CFI. And it became just culturally acceptable that, what are you doing over the weekend? Yeah, I'm in CFI, I'm building this thing. Or I'm building these robots that trace lines and, will win some competition somewhere. I'm just learning.
Yeah.
It just started, I think, a culture of that being so common that when I looked at our seniors who couldn't understand it, I think it hit me much later that this is not common. This was not common before. So CFI started in 2007. The entrepreneurship club was active, but I'm not sure if I would say that was the primary reason, honestly. But then the research park happened in 2009, I believe. This was a bunch of other directors taking inspiration from the Stanford something.
That's right.
Yeah, and they started the research park. And other two things also I would say happened. Professor Junjunwala, who had been trying to do in startups at scale, literally a factory of startups for at least 10, 20 years before that.
Yeah.
And I would give a small amount of credit also to our department, engineering design. Case in point, we were the third batch. We had 22 people or 24 people in our class. I was last doing a census. At least 2/3 of our department attempted to do a startup at some point.
That's amazing.
Of our class.
Yeah.
And I've heard over the years that there are just a higher number of people from this department who've attempted to start up over the years. Because I think it created the right set of situations, environment. So all this got together. Our batch saw a very disproportionately high number of people attempting to start up instead of taking jobs. And I think that trends kept extending over the years. IIT Madras had a natural reputation for being very academia focused and a little bit of a closed cocoon in the city of Chennai otherwise.
Yeah.
I think that's also helped. It's helped attract a certain kind of startup that needs a bit of distance and a bit of cocoon to do hard foundational work, as opposed to big bang flashy announcements right from day one, viral campaigns right from day one.
Yeah.
So it automatically separates those startups inside and outside.
Our season partner Ultrahuman is back for a second time. I'm biased as the seed investor here, but their immensely loved brand is making waves globally. Ultrahuman is a health tech pioneer redefining how we track and improve our health. Their sleek titanium ring air and its new rare metal cousins accurately track sleep, movement, and recovery to deliver real-time health insights and personalized nudges. Ultrahuman is creating a unique health ecosystem built on top of the wearable data. It just launched Blood Vision in the US in addition to India, a blood testing service that offers a panel of over 100 longevity and chronic disease biomarkers with the convenience of an at-home test. They're also launching Ultrahuman Home globally for environment-aware analysis and sleep insights. Whatever your health fix, go sign up and experience being truly Ultrahuman. Some of our best deep tech ones have all been built like yours.
Yeah.
Grey Orange, Carbon Clean, Pixel, so Bits Pilani, Kharagpur, but they have to have come out of a college campus. Like now there's a kid building Mave Health. It's a third startup, but those original startup would have been on campus. And now the fact that, I don't know if you've heard of them or they've pitched to you, Grad Capital, Campus Fund.
Yes.
Yeah, they're all only focused on student startups.
Correct.
Yeah, and
I
high
mean,
time we
Capital
did
guys,
that.
if you
Yeah,
notice.
there you go. So coming to what you ended up starting.
Yeah.
Like, so Ather Energy comes out of campus. What do you think you were building at that point?
No, we were not.
Okay.
So the idea
Yeah, I
hadn't
know.
worked out.
I think you went for job. You went and took
Yeah,
jobs.
we did take up jobs. So what
forget.
happened is final year. So we are in a dual degree course, 5 years here. So final year we decided to sit for placements because this Stirling engine thing hasn't worked out.
Yeah.
We built a whole bunch of them, but none of them look like they will ever enter production. Nor do we really know how to even move these things to production. They seem very, very hard. But we don't want to give up yet. So at this point, we had an option. Okay, do either of us want to go out for a master's or an MBA or CAT? And we kind of told ourselves, "Kaam karte hain. Let's just take core jobs for now. Let's give ourselves at least a year or two. And if at the end of 2 years also we feel कि नहीं समझ में आ रहा, then we'll go our paths. ठीक है, फिर CAT लिख देंगे. We'll go for MBA, some MTech वगैरह, some masters, MS वगैरह करेंगे. That door we had reasonable confidence is not shut on us.
Yeah.
CG पे ठीक ठाक है, निकल जाएंगे. नहीं workout किया तो. But that basically meant let's stay in core jobs. Core jobs as largely mechanical engineering students. We both went in different auto companies. I went to Ashok Leyland, he went to General Motors. And the idea was we'll keep in touch. Let's keep talking. Let's keep thinking. कुछ idea शायद आ जाएगा. We've been filing a lot of patents in our final year. We filed some 7 patents.
For the Stirling engine?
No, different things.
Oh, different.
That construction thingy, the Stirling engine. No, Stirling engine तो शायद फाइल नहीं किया हमने. Construction पे फाइल किया, robots पे फाइल मैं कुछ parallel manual पे वर्क कर रहा था. And one random patent out of nowhere on a swappable battery pack.
Okay.
For electric cars.
Okay.
It was like a fun side project. So I wrote the entire presentation, so might as well file a patent. And तब तक समझ में आ गया था patent कैसे लिखते हैं. तो एक फाइल कर दिया. Now, this happened just after graduation. ये हो गया. I was gonna go for the job. I had a lot of time, so I started reading about batteries and electric vehicles. And they seemed fascinating. Started my job. The job, large company, as you can imagine, the first 6 months are not exactly strenuous. I had a fair bit of time. I didn't have a computer for the first 4 months. So I had a lot of time. So I started reading a lot about electric vehicles. I think Ashok Leyland had this online portal with all McKinsey articles over like decades. So I kept reading. कोई ADB का
There's an
report
Ennore in Tamil.
Yeah, Chennai में Valuable Chavdi. No, I think north of Annanagar or
My summer internship was there.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, engineering. Yeah.
So I was reading a lot and something started happening. I was like, yeah, electric vehicles are real. This is interesting. I didn't realize they're real because the only EV I knew was Reva, which was a very good engineering product, but really didn't have product success.
Yeah, not that much commercial.
Unfortunately, because for how much work Chetan had put in.
Yeah.
Now, so I was like, electric vehicles are real. Lag raha hai. And China has gone crazily on electric. They have like 3 crore electric two-wheelers being sold every year. ये तो इंडिया में भी आने वाला है. So I started making weekend Bangalore trips where Swapnil was. I was in Chennai. I'd go to weekends, spend the weekend with him. Okay. Slyly pitching him. ठीक है. Trying to brainwash him कि वापस आ जा, कुछ करता है. ठीक है. He was dying to anyways. Okay. So ऐसा नहीं कि बहुत फाइट मारनी पड़ी. 3-4 ट्रिप मारे, थर्ड ट्रिप तक तो वो कन्विंस हो गया था. So I told him, हाली काम करते हैं. So okay, another thing was happening. So I was making these trips. On parallel, every weekend I was not there. I was in ID. So I would just come back to the campus on Friday evenings after finishing work. There was a friend from my batch who was still doing his research there. So he would let me in the department and I would go crash in the department. So department everybody knew. Tarun का यहाँ पे एक योगा मैट और एक पिलो पड़ा है. ठीक है, वो आता है वहाँ पे सोता है. ठीक है. Professors also turned a blind eye. They were very nice to us.
Yeah.
Okay. So I'd come on Friday night. I would go crash there, and I'd use the time to basically, in my isolation, read. I just wanted to read everything about electric vehicles, and gradually I started building some of these battery packs because swappable battery pack पे patent file किया है, तो let's try building these batteries. क्या होता है? And car तो बना नहीं सकते, तो scooter बना के देखते हैं. So 6 months in, I built a bunch of these batteries. I have read a lot about electric vehicles, and I've become a bit comfortable with the idea of building at least battery packs. So I pitched to Swapnil कि यार, what if these electric scooters are going to cross the border and come to India from China, ये swappable battery pack बनाएंगे, then it could solve a lot of problems that consumers have.
Yeah.
So maybe we should start a business building swappable battery packs and running a swapping network for the upcoming wave of electrification.
Which is Battery Smart, which we funded 8 years later.
Yeah. So I wrote this pitch, told it to him. He sold. I come back. He calls me and says on Monday कि मैंने resign कर दिया and they will let me go. I'll be in Chennai by the next weekend. I'm like, I have still not left my job. मैं तो ऐसे ही बोला था तेरे को. मैं सोचा कि 1 साल बाद छोड़ेंगे, 6 महीने बाद छोड़ेंगे. तो इसने resign कर दिया. ये तो बोरिया अवस्था बन के आ रहा है चेन्नई.
You sell well, obviously.
हाँ?
You sell vision well, obviously.
Or he really wanted to leave. Okay, whatever.
Out of the two.
Out of the two. So now it starts to panic in my head. अच्छा मुझे भी छोड़ देना चाहिए. Around that time, they give me the probation letter, which means my probation's ended and please sign here to become a full-time employee. I feel really bad. I'm like, I know deep down I don't want to work. I will not work here. It's a nice company. It's trying to be fair to me. It's offering me full-time employment. So bad if I sign this now. I shouldn't sign this. So I get the letter and I run away from the office immediately. मेरे को सुबह letter देते 9:30 बजे. 12 o'clock, I'm back in campus, IIT Madras, middle of a weekday. And Swapnil had already come back to campus. We both go meet a professor and we pitch to him ki, listen, we really want to leave our jobs. We don't want to do this. We instead want to build batteries for electric vehicles. The professor is very kind. He's like, don't worry. You just need some blessing, right? I'm telling you, leave your jobs. I'll find a way to support you guys. Subsistence. Okay. But leave the jobs. Okay. The department will support our students. Very good. So I also leave. Okay. Next month, both of us are now sitting in the department. But we haven't started up yet. Because at this point, the idea that this is startup is still not clear to us.
Yeah.
What we do know is that electric vehicles आने वाले हैं and उनका problem battery में और charging में है. So we should do something to solve the problem. So we are fundamentally builders and problem solvers. Will this be a startup? We honestly don't know still. So we don't start up. What we instead do, this is March 2013, we decide to hang around the department and build these batteries and build this battery management system. Build the chargers and build a mock scooter to demo all of it. So हम तो college project की तरह we keep building it. We spend the entire year doing this.
Okay.
We haven't started up Ather yet. Okay. There is no official entity called Ather. There is no funding. There is no investor. There is no angel. There are no founders also. Okay. There are just two people building under the name Ather Energy. Okay. You build करते through the course of 2013 and we kept meeting people pitching this idea. We realized कि यार people love the idea of the scooter that we are showing these batteries on. They don't want to buy batteries from us. They want to buy a good product from us. Battery is not a product they care about. So maybe the problem is the scooter and not the battery. And Swapnil really embraces this idea. He really believes कि यार बनाना तो पूरा product चाहिए. We shouldn't stall ourselves by just building a midway solution. Technical solution नहीं बनाते, पूरा product बनाते हैं. So it was actually a leap for me. because I was a bit worried कि पूरा scooter कैसे बनाएंगे?
Yeah, it's like you're moving full stack from a small piece of the puzzle.
Yeah. But his confidence was very high. So we took that leap and we started pitching the scooter.
To whom? Sorry?
Just anybody.
Just the idea. You just vision sell it.
We just pitch to anybody, by the way, at this point. Okay, we're not very choosy about who we'll pitch to. तो जो भी आता है,
Whoever wants to listen to the vision.
Yeah. कोई भी अगर आके देखना चाहता है हम लोग क्या कर रहे हैं, तो we are the guys building the scooter here, right? तो हम लोग आपको sell करेंगे, आओ आपको scooter पे ride पे ले आता है. So we'd sell this to everybody, and that's how we got the first funding. Before
who's that?
So there's this alum. So we were in, I think October, we finally took the call कि company register कर लेते हैं, because one of the professors who was very involved in entrepreneurship told us that we are starting this program to incubate companies in research park में. Do you want to apply for that? So I said yes, I'll apply for that because you will give us 5 lakh rupees. I thought 5 lakh rupees is all the capital you would need. Yeah. तो 5 लाख के लिए apply कर दिया. They incubated us. They gave us 5 lakhs. अब company register हो गई है. I quickly realized और पैसा लगेगा. So in that same month, November, I was walking around in the campus and there's a poster on a tree that says some talk by Dr. V. Srinivasan, who's an alum, who's also a founder of some company called Aerospike in US. So, I'm like, not a lot to do. Yeah. Middle of the day, he's giving a talk. I just took a left, started walking in. And they told me that he's meeting founders before the talk. Well, I'm a founder. So I just walk up, I go in the room, and as luck would have it, nobody turns up to meet him except me.
Oh.
So I'm the only founder that turns up to meet him. Okay. So
you get a lot of attention.
A lot of attention, yeah. So I open up a laptop and I start pitching him this scooter that we're building. He's really fascinated. He's just bought a Model S. So he really believes in startups doing auto. Walks back with me after the talk to see the scooter, meets the professor, and he invests 25 lakhs. First check. Gets us somewhere. And yeah, uska incubation liya and life moved on.
So tell me, more philosophical, fundamental question.
Yeah.
Given your journey and where we've landed up 10 years later, and the minister, Mr. Goyal, says we don't do enough deep tech and hard tech in the country. You know, for us also, people ask us, by the way. So we've introduced some of our companies, and you know that we backed a bunch of stuff in EV, Euler, Vecmocon, Yulu. These are all portfolio companies. And people look and say, what makes you think, you should back these kind of companies because they're so capital intensive? And in that journey, I know when we first met one-on-one for the very first time, we're going through this staggeringly difficult phase in 2018-19, where you had, the capital problem of 25 lakhs is one thing, but surviving that scale problem is another. Pandemic probably brought its own set of problems. We'll come to the post-pandemic life. But pre-pandemic, maybe walk us through the journey, but also weave this idea around how do we solve for long gestation, capital-intensive, deep tech solutioning in this country? And what's your wish list in terms of what each part of the ecosystem should do? Including us VCs. We don't, by the way, just staggering stat for you. In some of our best deep tech companies, after Blume, there's not a single Indian investor on the cap table.
Not a single?
No. So, and it's like embarrassing almost, right? In some cases. And so, who do you blame if the VCs don't have belief? Like, where will you go to the rest of the market and ask? Until, of course, you become a public company, which we'll come to. Great
Actually,
unlock.
that's not...
it takes 10 years to unlock that,
That's not a surprise, by the way. Apart from Tiger, who all credit to Lee back in the day.
Yeah, Lee was crazy enough to
took this bet. Yeah. But there's not a single VC on a cap table.
There you go. And he's not Indian by any means. he's as Manhattan as they come.
So I think the problem is metrics. And I don't think the challenge is capital as much as it is gestation.
Yeah.
Let me explain both.
Yeah.
It is certainly not a capital problem because take the few hardware companies that have become now large or gone public and compare their revenue generated to capital deployed.
Yeah.
I think you'll very quickly realize that most deep tech or hardware businesses have a better revenue to capital raise ratio
Than even consumers.
Then almost most consumer businesses, including the ones which are really successful, were most established metrics. Yeah,
That's a fascinating stat in itself. We should do some math around that and show that.
Ather's worth what, about 2.5 billion today?
Yeah, 21,000 crores. I
And
checked.
yes,
Yeah.
roughly that much. Yeah. We would have raised, including the IPO, maybe 6,000-7,000 crores.
And pre-IPO?
Like 700-800 million. सब मिला के बोल रहा हूँ.
नहीं, pre-IPO कितना था? Sorry.
Valuation.
No, capital raised.
मैं वही सोच रहा हूँ. I think we raised 3,000 crores and IPO में 2,600 crores. So 6,000 roughly.
6,000 give or take.
So about 800 million. So 800 million went in to create 2.5 billion ka today outcome. And I think it'll obviously, hopefully compound. And I think you will see similar ratios, or even better ratios for many other players. The problem is not capital. I think internet businesses suck up a lot more capital into things which are not even asset creating,
Yeah.
like advertising or discounting.
Yeah.
A lot of the deep tech or hardware businesses actually create fundamental IP or real assets behind it.
Correct.
Like अगर factory में 1,000 crore जा रहा है, then there's a real asset being created of 1,000 crores.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's right.
It is, however, gestation. That which also brings me to my first point that I said. The problem really is, from an investor's perspective, metrics. When things take a long time, you really don't have enough metrics to rub around to have a new conversation every year, which
Yes.
is roughly time you need to fundraise.
Yeah.
Every year you need to fundraise, right? So every fundraise you need a new story. But for things that take 5 years to build, how do you cook up a story every year, right? Like, yeah, we are 20% of the way to building the product. Why don't you give us more money, right? It's very hard.
Yeah. There are too many VCs who take that.
Internet-enabled businesses, you put in X rupees, you will get some Y outcome, right?
Yeah.
कुछ customer आएगा, app download आएगा, कुछ
Yeah.
purchase होगा.
Some GMV is there.
Some GMV is there. Some form of GMV or consumer traction is there.
Yeah.
But a product business, especially a physical product business, you will not have traction till pretty much the end of the journey.
Yeah.
So that is a real problem. And it really makes a lot of investors very nervous, because investors are, let's be honest, if you have the option of choosing an established metric, if quick commerce mein, these are the metrics on which your next round is made or broken.
Correct.
You can at least have an objective conversation, right? Or something else, like SaaS tha pehle.
Even the VCs are doing the math that way. If I give this much money,
Yes.
will it get to these metrics? And
Yes.
therefore, will the next guy fund it?
Yes.
In your case, that's not even visible.
That is the problem. The metrics are the problem, right? And what really successful outcomes in physical products and hardware and deep tech will do is start establishing some metrics. We've had an acute lack of metrics in our industry, which is why it depends too much on storytelling. It depends too much on, like, oh, this is the next Elon Musk or this is the next Steve Jobs.
Yeah.
बहुत मुश्किल है. Like, how many people will be the next Elon Musk or Steve Jobs? यार बार-बार, ठीक है?
Yeah.
You need some objectivity in the conversation, for which you need metrics, and which I think at least the Indian venture ecosystem right now is not very wise on still. Yeah. And I don't think I'll blame investors, because there's just not been enough stories to
It's
get
always
learnings
about
out of.
finding role models for both sides.
Yeah. तो जब तक metrics नहीं है, तो then the gestation seems even longer, right? क्योंकि then the only outcome is when your physical product finally hits the ground and has traction. भाई उसमें तो 6 साल लग जाएंगे.
So, quickly recap for me. 25 lakh first check to physical product getting launched. I think it was the 350. What was the first model? 340.
Practically it was the 450. So first check went in March 2014. 15, 16, 17, 18. 4.5 years. 18 August. August 2018 is when we delivered our first 10 scooters.
Wow.
And it was not like an amazing explosion of revenue after that. Because then after that, it was 50 scooters next month, 100 scooters next month, 150 scooters next month. So you're talking about like 1-2 crores every month. Yeah. After 4.5 years of
work. Yeah.
Of work. In fact, it was a pretty slow 3 years. 3 years. 19, 20, 21. Revenue started taking off in 2022. If I remember correctly, FY19 का revenue हुआ होगा कुछ 20-30 crores, if that. FY20 का revenue would be also somewhere in that range, 30-40 crores. FY21 might have been a bit better, but hardly more than 100 crores. FY22, I think we would have jumped up to 400 crores.
Wow.
FY23, we jumped up to 1700 crores. 24, 1800, 25, some 2500.
Now you're run rate for whatever, 3,000.
So Q1 was 100% growth over Q1 last year.
Wow.
So Q2, obviously I can't disclose now, so you'll have to wait.
You're a public.
So the difference is, and I think that's what people start noticing now, is that there is a lot of upfront investment. That is true. Okay, you have to put a lot of money for the first 5-10 years, and the payoff is that the moat is just crazy, because there are very few people who can build for 5-10 years with patience. So your moat is that there are very few founders like yourselves. Okay, and just the engineering hours put in is a tremendous moat. But once that is done, and once the product starts coming together, the supply chain starts coming together, it takes like maybe 3-4 years to go from like maybe, I don't know, like 100 crores to suddenly like 4,000-6,000 crores. And at that scale, you will inevitably turn profitable and all that good stuff works out. And the best thing is, in most internet-enabled businesses, you can be at $1 billion, but there will be like 2 competitors who are exactly like you. And hence, your margins have been already traded away for the next 5 years. Margin to nahi banne wala. You're all just creating the India opportunity, but margin bahut mushkil hai nikalna.
Yeah.
In hardware, margin ban jata hai. It's very hard for people to copy what you did. Imitators are few. So if you survive through this, your outcome is far more predictable.
This is a good time to talk about IDFC First Bank, our seasoned partner. IDFC First Bank has earned its reputation as one of India's most startup-friendly banks through its First Wings program, which provides dedicated mentorship and tailored financial solutions to help early-stage ventures scale effectively. Coincidentally, many of Blume's portfolio companies, much later stage, also partner with IDFC First Bank for their banking and financial needs. If you're well-funded and scaling, there are great lending and banking partners, and our portfolio companies would attest to that. The one moat that you're maybe overplaying, what my counter to that is, in India, because venture doesn't go all in and back folks like you, in certain businesses where there are legacy players, you've given them a lot of time to catch up, I would argue. And they have capital arbitrage like 100x over you. They can push money from anywhere, and they can get like a $100-200 million seed to be getting a EV business going today, which is why you see in the league tables, other than Ola and you, it's like the other guys who are in the top 5, 6, 7. So is that, that's the only downside I feel of waiting too long.
No, actually, I would counter that by saying that we are not in a land grab business. In fact, excess capital now in hindsight, I would say would distract us into thinking that we are in a land grab business, because the startup community together is so used to today internet businesses where everything is a land grab, but everything is also short-term opportunity.
Got it.
In 5-10 years, the cycle will change and something else will become worth land grabbing for. Auto has never been land grab. There is no company that's basically like, bhai, like we are 60-70% market share, everything has pretty much died off, right? Sure, somebody could have gotten to 30-40% market share, but at least the profit pool is quite actually well divided, because consumer tastes are such.
Yeah.
There is no way to like lock in a consumer base completely and say ki bhai ab to aapka app install ho gaya, now how will you go away? You will always come to me. No. I'm at a certain age, I'll buy a certain kind of bike. At a certain age, I'll buy a certain kind of scooter.
Yeah.
Okay. When I'm buying a scooter, I like a certain brand. I'm not going to buy this. Vice versa. Yeah. So I think that has been a constant misassessment, that the opportunity here was to be the first and land grab. Because if you thought that, you would throw your money to try and capture everything. You would spread even the most giant money piles into a very, very thin thing, while the real opportunity was to build a brand which needed you to go deep and occupy something very, very, very solidly. There is a technology lead ka arbitrage, but that will always get traded away. बाकी लोग भी तो मतलब गेम खेल रहे हैं ना, मतलब वो भी
Fair.
टेक्नोलॉजी तो कॉपी करेंगी आपका.
Fair.
That is not like you're not dealing with like this ungettable IP कि listen,
Yeah.
you have something others don't have it. Others will
Yeah.
get it.
Yeah.
If not now, in 3 years they will get it. What you're really trying to do is actually build a different kind of company. For example, in our business, I very strongly believe electric is opening a new kind of experience. And I think the opportunity is for new brands to become the sellers of that kind of an experience on an automotive, which ICE could not do. And companies that are anchored in the ICE ecosystem will not be able to position themselves as sellers of that experience.
Just double click on the experience part. Like, what do you think
I
makes
think-
Ather stand out here?
I think, given the fact that the entire powertrain is electric, you are already starting off on a distinct advantage where you can build a lot of features which are fundamentally electronic or electrical in nature.
Correct.
That ICE can't recreate. Let me offer a few examples. Cruise control is a feature that if you ever wanted to build on an ICE would require you to put hardware worth 4,000-5,000 rupees, 6,000 rupees on the ICE powertrain. That's my rough assessment. On an electric, cruise control is a zero cost implementation. In our case, 100 rupees because we wanted one extra sensor for safety. That's it. Hill hold, a feature that cars have, two-wheelers cannot have because it requires electrical brakes. And electrical brakes will cost you like another 5,000-6,000 rupees, right? On an EV, hill hold is a zero cost implementation.
Wow.
Okay. If you want to do, like, the amount of features that we can open up with an electrical powertrain and really, really, really smart software on it is an order of magnitude higher than what ICE vehicles can ever do at that cost structure. Actually, they can't. Which is why, at least in the scooter world, I believe upgrade is now synonymous with electric. Like all the feature sets.
Yeah.
You want cruise control, you want hill hold, you want brakeless experience where the vehicle automatically will slow down, vagare, vagare. You want the beautiful touchscreen dashboard. You want, like, we built this helmet.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then this helmet, now you can just tell the helmet, hey, I want to go here, and it'll start navigation there. You can just tell the helmet, actually the helmet will tell you that, hey, I've detected it's raining. I'm turning on rain traction control for you. And it can turn rain traction control on the vehicle for you.
Amazing.
You can't do it with a nice architecture.
Tempted to get an Ather.
Yeah. So my point is that there are many things like these which, because of the electrical powertrain, you can now unlock as experiences which are very difficult to do with ICE. And I have now become a believer that that's the real opportunity. Become patron saints of those new experiences for the new customer instead of trying to be the new old thing.
Understood.
Like Activa got sold on a different promise. Splendor built its fortunes on a different promise in a different India, in a different environment. A new brand should not be trying to say, "Mere paas electric hai, I'll be the new Splendor." No. The real opportunity, very much like, by the way, internet startups, is to unlock a new experience, a new flow, and become owners of that thing in the mind of the customer. It's not land grab at all.
Understood. No, this is fascinating. I think you touched upon questions that I had, like what's our differentiator in terms of why is it important to own software, build that yourself. It's fully integrated. Like you can't distance that. It's a part of the experience, a part of the product in some sense. And if you think about what it took to get to where Ather is at today, how important do you think thinking through this problem as full stack, range anxiety going away, having EV charging networks, was that imperative because you were creating a category in some sense? Would it have survived without, or do you feel like you went overboard in doing everything that you have? Was there any parts that you would go and correct at this point on the core strategy? I know you pivoted out of the bad ones, but
not really.
You have to do whatever you have.
I think we did whatever we had to. We were the first business to break out this way. We were fighting almost in a paranoid way for differentiation. Remember that we are in a country which has some of, hands down, with tons of respect, the best two-wheeler businesses in the world.
Correct.
Yeah. Like we are
largest market.
We are essentially positioning against Hamara Bajaj, Desh Ki Dhadkan, Hero, and TVS and Honda, which wrote the book on quality. तो मैं क्वालिटी पे पिच नहीं कर सकता, मैं मार्केटिंग पे पिच नहीं कर सकता, मैं कॉस्ट पे पिच नहीं कर सकता, मैं डिस्ट्रीब्यूशन पे पिच नहीं कर सकता, which is really the 4 pillars of pretty much automotive.
Yeah.
So we've been always paranoid about we need a differentiation, we need to stand out. And unfortunately, none of the things we stand out on can be things that others already have built their fortunes on.
Yeah.
So whether it is a charging network, whether it was software, whether it was uh, uh, very deep investments in engineering and R&D, which was a bit of a counter to the prevailing wisdom at that point in the two-wheel industry.
Very
We bid big on all of it. In fact, there were some decisions which objectively you could say we could have avoided. And heck, back in the day, we knew these are bad decisions, but we stuck on with them because we knew that that was the way our team rallied together. And holding together a very strong team in the early years of hardware in India also was important. So there's very little that I would now look back and say कि ये तो नहीं करना चाहिए था, कुछ और ही करना चाहिए था.
Truly avenging that original destiny. But now, we'll shift gears a little, maybe move to, obviously you seem to embody all the essence of a great product and innovation company. And some of it obviously has to come from the leadership. There are different anecdotes we picked up about both you and Swapnil going to the guts of the business, learning functions before you hire for them. You think that's the only way a student entrepreneur should be learning and building a business? I know entrepreneurs are built very differently, but is there any other way you would have managed to get here, at least from your perspective, of like literally learning every function, hiring for every function, which is kind of unique. Not too many founders put in that effort.
Yeah, I'm a firm believer of it. We've tried a few times other way and we've realized it doesn't work. I think it doesn't work because, at least in our case, the founder imprint or the founder's vision of how things need to run has to be defined, right? And I'm literally saying every department. HR, at one point even finance, definitely business, marketing, sales, customer support. It's easy to believe that engineering mein, product mein, design mein, you want a founder involvement. But we've come to realize supply chain, sourcing, procurement, warehousing. Like Swapnil has gone deep to define principles there, like how groups will be defined. Who will work with whom? What's the value flow of how material flows in operations for us? And the point is, at least the way we've run Ather, we believe in defining all of it. Because otherwise it's not our business. And we can't say with hand on heart that this is our team or this is our function. We don't need to run it ourselves. So now there's a double problem that, yes, we want to define everything, which means we'll have to run it first ourselves. But then the second problem that we have run nothing in our lives. So everything that we decide to run ends up having a gestation period where we first go in and learn painfully and making mistakes. So it compounds thoda bahut. But okay, we paid the price over 10, 12 years and we're here now. I think mostly सब कुछ एक बार run कर चुके हैं.
Yeah.
So now that's not a problem. I think it allows us to hire the people that we truly believe are aligned with what we wanted to do here.
Yeah, I think that's key. I think that was the...
I think I believe it's a mistake. There's a difference between being hands-off and having no idea. I think
I know what you mean.
We made the mistake when we said, we have no idea about this function. Who the heck knows what HR is, right?
Yeah.
Just hire somebody, have them run HR for you. And then before you know it, HR has come up with all these policies, or HR is hiring these people. The recruitment practices are XYZ, the layoff practices are XYZ,
Because
the promotions are all messy.
Yeah.
And then you walk into that, you adopt those issues a few years later,
Yeah.
and that's getting too hard to fix.
Yeah.
At some point, you just wipe your hand and say, "Bhai, ab nikal jate hain yahan se. This is no longer the company I started." I'm saying if you don't want to say that, then run HR for a while with people and define.
Yeah.
Define what kind of comm philosophy you want to have here.
Yeah.
Define how you want to hire people. Define how you want to do appraisals every year. Have a viewpoint on all of it. And then bring in leaders who can then run that vision for you. And then you step out. But it's hopefully running in the direction that you set out.
Fully appreciate. I mean, ours has been a much smaller 50-ish person, 55% firm. So before we cut to your post-IPO journey, I mean, just to be humorous about it, it feels like when these college partnerships happen, it's like, college sweetheart romance equivalent, if I can bring up an analogy like that. How do you sustain the marriage for that long? So the challenge has always been, do two co-founders stay consistent in vision is one thing. How do you evolve to become CXOs of a pre-product company, which was the first 5 years, or pre-product meaning pre-product launch, you were always building, to, 2,500 crore plus revenue company. And what have you learned about both yourselves and how you scale those mountains as you go along?
Well, competence has to be like that. That has to work out for both of you. But if that does, I think what becomes super crucial after a few years is a very high amount of trust, which only happens if, at least at the level of both of you, you are very, very transparent with each other, and also you're very trusting with each other. I think coaching helps. We got some for years now, and we've realized that while the work will not give you enough opportunities to discuss everything, coaching really gives you all the vents that you need to sort of remain honest with each other. So I think coaching can help, and I think knowing your founder for a few years before you actually take the plunge is a pretty cool idea. So which is why I think startups from colleges might have a higher shot of success. Might, I have no data, could be very wrong.
No, there is some research to suggest it. So Wharton does a bunch of entrepreneurial research. And of course these are never rules that are perfect, but they're basically frameworks that suggest higher probabilities. And one of them is actually that founders who know each other very well, much higher probability.
Because you've already leveled with each other on your core philosophies, on your core thought process. You've probably seen each other fight, get angry, and despite that you decided to take the plunge.
That's right.
You met somebody for 3-4 months and you take the plunge. You really don't know much.
The arranged marriages don't work that well. You need some of that love marriage thing.
Yes.
No, we've already touched upon the need to go IPO is obviously always capital raising, exits for your existing investors. But what does it do for Ather as a company? How does it transform the company in terms of its true now, next level destiny unlock, right? And so what does Ather look like in 2035 that the IPO is enabled versus constantly privately raising?
I think it's probably going to be true for a long while. It's a pretty cool idea. It's a pretty smart. Let me rephrase. I think given where Indian equity markets are and how young we are in this journey, if you're a consumer brand in India, after a certain while, I think being public is more advantageous than being private. You just get so much more awareness. You're just covered so much more. So unless you're trying to invite the wrong kind of press, I think it can be pretty healthy on average for the business and the brand. It certainly is a better... the liquidity certainly helps with the valuations. So to me, the costs are higher compliance, higher reporting, your numbers being public, so basically higher compliance, higher governance, more transparency. I think those are, if you think really deeply about them, good things to push for.
In the long term, you always have to build around that.
Yes.
They're all good practices.
And the longer you stay private and you become larger and larger of a business without necessarily... either you embrace these, in which case might as well go public and have the liquidity of stock, or you are not going public and you're not embracing these three things, but you're becoming larger and larger of a business, which I think makes it then much harder to at some point take the plunge. So I think there's a timing for everything. We've had a few really good investors on the cap table for a while now, many of them being sovereign funds. So we kind of felt the bars of compliance, reporting, governance, transparency are already quite high now.
Been established.
So easier to take the plunge. What does it mean for the business? I don't think this means anything for the business. I think this can help the business with marketing, with awareness, with more sources of capital. But I don't think otherwise it directly plays any role in the business per se. We believe there has been an opportunity, and there still remains an opportunity to build a great product company out of this country. It's surprising with physical products how few brands are trying to pursue it. We don't do that either.
Tell me, what is I forgot to ask you this, but does it surprise you? What's been the most surprising aspect of, your vehicle is now, the flagship vehicle is positioned more as like a family vehicle. There's a price consideration. You said you had a shock when FAME subsidies are reduced. India is a value market at the end of the day. If you want to be mass, which I guess is the aspiration. Of course, you can have a premium product as well. But fundamentally, what has been the biggest learnings around the consumer journey, in the sense that you're building a really cool product, and are they upper bounds to which a consumer will pay, and therefore it forces you to innovate a world-class product like most of India's two-wheeler industry within that price point, and then does that give you the opportunity, like most of them, to become a global product?
Yeah. I think the upper bounds, and the upper bounds are really affordability, which you have to respect. Like, there's no point of saying that there is no limit and we'll sell a 5 lakh rupee scooter and we'll sell bucket loads.
Yeah.
No, it'll sell 20 pieces a year. Yeah. That is the market for 5 lakh rupee scooter today.
Yeah.
But having said that, what we've also realized, and that is the arbitrage that we've sort of been able to play on, the scooter market's been an outstanding success in the last 20 years. It basically went from like single digit market share to like almost 40% market share within two-wheelers. And for the most part of these 20 years, it's been basically a race. Like I think a brand like Honda really showed that you can sell scooters in India and Indians will buy it. And everybody's been trying to recreate that success, actually quite successfully.
Yeah.
And the market's expanding so fast that everybody's head is right next to the grinding wheel. But what's happened in this entire journey is the average price of a scooter has not kept in pace with inflation, or anywhere close to inflation. Like per capita incomes or a regular household's income over the last 20 years would have gone up like how many times?
Yeah.
Like, I don't know, right? 3, 4, 5 times.
Yeah, middle class would have definitely gone up 3 times.
So yeah, the average price of a scooter has not even gone up, maybe has not even doubled.
Yeah.
And what's it created is, on the other hand, motorcycles have become a lot more expensive. I think Pulsar started this trend, and motorcycles have really, really, really grown into a much more diverse spectrum, where you've got, a 75,000 rupee motorcycle, you've got a lot of motorcycles in the 150, 180, 190 wala segment, and 250, 350, 450, and all of them are selling. And they're really, that's what gave us some indication that, listen, people seem to have budgets.
Yeah.
When the same customer goes out to buy a motorcycle, he or she might say that mera budget 2 lakh rupees. I want to buy this nice 180cc or 200 whatever cc something, yeah. But the minute he looks at a scooter, his budget is somehow magically 1 lakh rupees. How does that happen? Both do the same job in his daily life. And that's because we realize, I don't think we're building enough value in the scooter. The scooter over the last 20 years hasn't materially changed. So yes, there are upper bounds, and but that upper bound has moved up a lot. It's no longer at 70, 80K. It's probably closer. It's probably doubled. It's probably at 150, 160, which is what Ather's been able to play into. We've got, I think, the highest, like a very large number of products above 130, 140,000 rupees. In fact, our average selling prices are exceeding that.
Okay.
And we are reasonable market share. We are the market leaders in all of South India. We are market leaders in Gujarat. We have recently become market leaders in Northeast. I think that's telling us that you have to respect the upper bounds of affordability by the highest number of customers. But sometimes you don't realize that that bound has moved up much faster than you move the industry. The product that is still selling at 80K probably should be at 80K. It really hasn't added so much value. But there's so much more value you can add, and upsell a product at 120, 130, 140, and people will buy it, that it's just unbelievable. And that's what opened up a door for a new brand. somebody putting more value in the same product.
So maybe final question, just to get a sense of scale, like how much does your last quarter revenue translate into a number of scooters sold now approximately?
Q1 we sold 45,000 units.
45.
Q2 numbers obviously not out.
Yeah.
But month of August, that's public data, we sold 21,000 units.
Oh wow. And how many sort of distribution points now in the country?
We just crossed 500 stores.
And you do your own stores everywhere?
No.
You distribute as well?
We put our money on only things that we think we can deliver an ROI on, which is tech, design, product, brand.
And then distribution is
all dealers. We've got fantastic dealers, but all dealers.
Understood. And no, we've already spoken. I know you're a public company. You can't give forward projections, but
no chance.
2035, 10 years out, without getting to numbers, what would you want Ather to stand for?
I think two directional things. We want to build a great product business, and we have this deep innate love for engineering. We want to build this on the back of a very strong engineering muscle. While engineering is not we don't want to do it for its own sake. I think we would be disappointed if world-class engineering didn't play a role, the most central role in enabling that business. So we want to ideally see both of them happen. We do believe that electric vehicles, at least in our industry, will become the majority by that point. We're not trying to build a niche brand. So we'll be doing healthy volumes by then. We'll have healthy market shares. But really, directionally, what we would have achieved as far as capturing the imagination goes is that you can build, that we can have hands down the best engineering, we can have some of the best engineers in the world on this industry coming together here in India, and that we can build products that like what we think of Apple's product launches today, right? In popular fiction, in popular culture.
Yeah.
I think over the next 20 years, there will be Indian brands like those which will inspire the same amount of respect and the same amount of awe. And I hope Ather is at least one of them.
Awesome. No, you've already begun to inspire. I mean, yesterday we had Euler launching the four-wheelers.
Yeah, I saw.
Yeah, and it was neat. It was like, it's wonderful feeling to see these things come to life. And you guys have been trendsetters. So kudos to that. Cheers to your vision for 2035.
Thank you, Karthik.
And we're sitting here. I know we were deciding your place or ours, and I'm glad we chose this. I didn't know your location of your office.
Okay.
But the only 2 years I've ridden a bike were innumerable times on Bannerghatta Road, because I studied at IIM Bangalore, had a ESD which was hand-me-down from an uncle.
Nice. Okay.
And it's literally, and it was like driving down nostalgia today, coming from that origin of Bannerghatta Road on that.
You're coming from there? That side?
It's coming from that side, and then it takes you all the way to campus.
Yeah,
right?
okay.
And back in the day, you could zip here at like 100 kph in the night. Now you can't.
Not even in the night.
You're not even in the night, yeah. So a lot of fond memories of my limited two-wheeler life. But with all I've heard today, it's very tempting to go and invest in an Ather. And maybe I'll do it, yeah. Maybe I'll shift to that in Bombay rather than toil through four-wheeler traffic. But again, thanks. Before I let you go, I'm going to ask some rapid-fire questions.
Sure.
And we'll just make it a little bit more fun. If Tesla called you to collaborate, and would you say yes? And if so, what would the 30-second pitch be?
No.
No,
I think we are trying to build our own. I think we're trying to build a great product company here.
Awesome.
It doesn't make sense to collaborate.
In all of your college projects or beyond that, even in Ather, what is the worst product idea that got started and then got canned?
By us?
Yeah.
Worst product idea. We didn't pick up too many things.
Yeah.
There was the engine. There was that construction equipment. I would say, funnily, the worst idea that we had for our DNA was trying to build a swapping network for electric vehicles which didn't exist yet and were not going to exist for another 8 years.
Yeah.
I think that was objectively a really bad idea, because if we had actually started that business, we would have been sitting idle for 3 years and we would have just wound down.
Yeah. But I think you pivoted at the right time, so no regrets there. One quality that you admire in Swapnil that you don't have?
Lots. I think we are real complements of each other. But he stays focused. I have so little focus. Like, you can catch him 3 years later on a topic. Unlikely he would have changed his mind radically. He would still remember the details. So he can really go into the weeds and drive stuff. I tend to jump.
And what would he say about you if I asked him that question?
That I don't get stuck and I tend to jump.
So really complimentary, and you both love that about each other, I guess. Favorite Ather feature that you like? What's the coolest feature?
Ather feature. Right now it's infinite cruise. That's
what does that do?
It's our cruise control, but it's implemented in a very different way. So we've eliminated almost every button, and we've eliminated almost every reason you would have to remember anything. It's very intuitive. You can actually use it in city traffic.
And as an extension of that, what is the strangest or curious feedback from a customer that is translated into maybe a product feature? Do customers engage enough that you've got?
Customers engage enough. What is the strangest thing? Well, not the strangest thing, but very early on, when you launch your first 10 scooters, one of those consumers, Aditya, I remember, he gave us a ton of feedback on driving style. Because at that point, we had a very engineering approach about how to give you performance. And we realized working with him that we need to really design completely different modes for different people. Working with him, I think it was called AR45 or something, internally as a project. We really came up with this concept of different riding styles and different modes, which have now become pretty commonplace, including our industry. But I think a lot of it traces back to extensive amount of feedback, where we would be on calls with him every other day for like weeks.
Early adopters are the best. Yeah.
Yes.
Biggest risk that you've probably taken in this entire journey, which feels like bonkers now when you think back?
Price hike.
Okay.
This is the COVID, just before COVID time. This is when I was trying to pivot our business from vehicles to software, SaaS. Thus, that didn't work, wasn't going to work. So we said, okay, if that's not going to work, how do we fix this business? Because our margins are not stacking up. And with this cost structure, they will never stack up. Well, one thing was to bring the cost down. But the other thing was we have to raise prices. We can't sell this vehicle at 1,20,000 and hope to make money.
Yeah.
We did the math, and the best case scenario, if we do all our cost reductions right, was to price this vehicle at 1,65,000. At 1,25,000, we were about 40-50% more expensive than a scooter. At 1,65,000, we were in crazy land.
Double territory.
Yeah. We took the plunge. We priced it at 1,65,000. Sales went up.
You truly appeared as a premium product for all of the value that you offer.
Cannot figure out now.
Yeah.
But sales went up, and that turned out to be the right price point. In fact, since then, we have now taken our highest flagship prices to 2 lakh rupees. But 1,60,000, 1,70,000 actually is the belly of our pricing today.
Awesome. And your proudest Ather moment so far?
IPO. The listing ceremony.
Yeah.
Yes, absolutely.
It's amazing to see. It's almost like a brand new journey has started and you're born afresh.
True.
In that sense. So fantastic. No, we loved having you on the show. Thanks for doing this. Thanks for taking the time. And as I said, hopefully we'll inspire a lot of our listeners to also go and get themselves an Ather. They probably didn't know enough about the bike. And I'm glad we touched upon a lot of elements of what went into the guts of it, the soul and heart of the founders and hundreds of people who work here. So thanks again.
Been a pleasure, Karthik.
Our sponsor and our portfolio company, Ultra Human, would like to, get engaged with you and Swapnil. Put a ring on your finger if they can. No, we're very proud. Hardware company also believes in software like you guys, building almost 60% of sales from the US now. Hopefully we'll make us as proud as Ather has for this country. It's great to see hardware, software, product innovation hit the global stage. And thanks again for you doing your bit at Ather, and hopefully Ultra Human makes you proud as well.
Amazing. Thank you to you. Thank you to the Ultra Human team.
Hey, pleasure having you.